Welcome back to CJ Sports. Today is Monday, May 24th that we're recording this episode. So this episode, we're jam-packed with our favorites to wear number 3, as well as just an update of what's going on around the different leagues that are currently active in one way or another. So Jake, if you want to take us off with your favorites to wear number 3, maybe address some people that we're not going to mention because it's just too dadgum easy.
Right. So the honorable mentions, basically, guys you can't mention because they were just too good. Not what this series is about. One of them, the easiest one for me, Babe Ruth. Really just have to say the name and everyone knows who it is. If you want to have some fun, go look at his baseball reference page and just see everything he did in his career. It's not even up to date because they didn't even keep records until like midway through the 20s or the 30s or something. I don't know. That's guy
without modern steroids.
Right. Yeah. Babe Ruth was his own steroid. And then another guy, A-Rod, although he was 13 with the Yankees, he wore number 3 for the first half of his career with the Mariners and the Rangers, and won an MVP doing that. And another guy, Allen Iverson. We're kind of the last generation that remember the greatness of Allen Iverson, of the short dude that could make his way through all the tall dudes and just shoot a layup, or get open for the 3 and just hit a dime. It's
like your spirit animal, a short dude with a bunch of tall dudes.
Dude, yes, that's it. I'm really just Allen Iverson. But those are some of them. I'll let Clay do the rest of them. But so for my number 3 is the guys I want to mention. And this is a guy, too, that you could definitely put in that range with they're too good to mention. But it was kind of lost his last few seasons of how good this guy was, is Dwyane Wade. Dwyane Wade was, we were talking about this before we started recording. Dwyane Wade was the Miami Heat for, 15 years. He was the team. Him and Bosch were the guys. They led that team to the playoffs basically every year. And then, had adding LeBron for 5 years, or was it something like that? I don't remember how many. It was like 5 or 6 years. LeBron joined the Heat before he went back to the Cavs and now on the Lakers. But yeah, Dwyane Wade was the team. He 13 All-Star games and averaged 22 points a game over his career. I will take that any day. You give me 22 points and have a 48 field goal percentage of 48%. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, 22 points. That's like a fifth of the average scoring now. Because games are ending between that 100 to 120. He's a fifth of your team points right there, Allen Iverson.
Exactly.
Dwyane Wade. We're talking about Dwyane Wade.
Dwyane Wade. He was just a monster and was made any team better. Number 3, a dude a little bit shocking, Jon Kitna.
Jon Kitna.
Yeah. You don't remember Jon Kitna? Bro.
No.
Jon Kitna, as a Cowboys fan, I can't forget Jon Kitna because Jon Kitna was the first backup quarterback behind Tony Romo that was able to actually win. All the other, up until Jon Kitna, he's old dude. He's like a high school football coach somewhere here in Texas. But he was never amazing, but just like a solid quarterback that an old guy to root for, basically. A solid dude. He played with 4 different teams. He wore the number 3 with the Bengals for 5 years, and then with Dallas for 2 years, being Romo's backup. And so a good player. I have some solid memories of watching Jon Kitna lead the Cowboys to a few wins. So my number 2, I'm finally naming a hockey player. I know one of my friends will be very excited that I'm finally naming a hockey player, and he probably already knows it's John Klingberg.
John.
Yeah. Klingberg he's just a good defensive presence for the Stars. He made the rookie team his rookie year, He was like the number 1 overall pick for the rookie team. So he was like technically rookie of the year. Hockey is weird. Um, but yeah, just like a solid defenseman and a presence. He's been played with injury the past few years, but he is still just like a solid player, a guy you want on your team.
Okay.
Number 1. My number 3. Steven Gostkowski.
Yeah. He almost made my list.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's just been around forever. He's been in the NFL for 15 years, and he was with the Patriots through their dominant stretch with Tom Brady, winning like I think it was 4 or 5 of the 6 Super Bowls that they won was with.
And he actually like won a couple of them, or really like sealed an AFC championship game for Tom Brady a few times.
Right. Like before they had Gostkowski, they had Vinatieri, and then Vinatieri moved on and they got Gostkowski. And it was just like they went from one great kicker to another. And Gostkowski, I mean, there's not much more to say. 4 Pro Bowls, 2-time All-Pro, and an 86% field goal percentage. That's decent. I'll take that, and I see why he's on Tennessee now. So,
I will say, growing up, being in my parents' fantasy football league, the one year that I won, my kicker was Gostkowski, and my tight end was Gronkowski. It was a great year, honestly. It was all the way around.
There you go.
Fun last names that basically looked the same. I think I distinctly remember as I was trying to figure out Yahoo system on the desktop, like I was trying to put Gronkowski in the kicker position because I got their names confused. Because what were we, like early middle school when they started playing together?
Something like that, yeah.
So
that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. All right. Does that do it for you?
Yeah, that's it. Clay, what are your number 3s, man?
So mine, I've got 1 football player and 3 basketball players.
Okay.
We're going to start with the football player just because I feel like he's one that people are going to be uncomfortable with me even saying his name as a great person to wear the number 3. None other than quarterback Carson Palmer.
Carson Palmer. I saw that name and I was, yeah.
So he played for 14 seasons. He put up 46,000 passing yards, which is an impressive amount, honestly, for a guy's name that I feel like when I hear it, I kind of put him in the same category as like the Red Rocket or someone, of like, okay, you had a few good years, but I mean, along with that, he also had almost 300 passing touchdowns. He went to 3 Pro Bowls and was a Pro Bowl MVP, which I know isn't a league MVP or anything, but hey, he won that.
It's something.
He was a quarterback that I think had they put a good team around him in Oakland, he could have come away and been one of those quarterbacks with a Super Bowl like Joe Flacco that like you never really think of him as a Hall of Famer necessarily or one of the greats, but he got a Super Bowl if they would have put a supporting cast around him, and they just didn't. Yeah,
that's a good pick. I thought about it for about half a minute, and I was like,
yeah,
good guy, just like not one of my favorites. But I see he was an easy guy to hope to root for.
Yeah. This next guy is a guy that I forgot even still played basketball. I'm sorry. Yeah. So he started in 2006.
Okay.
He's played 856 games, 14.5 points per game, 6 assists per game. He was a 5-time NBA All-Star from the years 2015 to 2019. 5 consecutive years he's an All-Star. Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
And he just, with everyone else we talk about in the league over the last 5 years, right? He's not the guy who comes to mind. When you've got Kawhi Leonard's and Kevin Durant's and Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, I mean, all these guys out there, who just draw the attention and draw the media. And then you got the young guys coming in that people are talking about, or the guys who are really just establishing themselves as like that next wave of players. Like Giannis, I feel like, is the head of that next wave of players, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And you've got, what's the guy down in New Orleans? Starts with a Z. Zion.
Yeah.
He's talked about as a guy who's supposed to be that next one, although this year it's like, ugh.
Right.
But Kyle Lowry has just been a consistent player. 14.5 points isn't a ton to average over your career, but it's one of those guys you can trust coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Is just going to put in some solid minutes while you let your starters rest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And he was a part of that NBA championship team in 2019. And so just putting in some solid work out there.
I like it. I like that pick.
Next, this guy, honestly, so most of his career was before I really watched much basketball. And again, I admit I don't watch a ton now either. He was another consecutive season All-Star, 7 from 2001 to 2007.
Okay.
NBA All-Star. He was a first team in 02 and 03. He's currently in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Tracy McGrady.
Oh, yeah, dude. I know the name.
Yeah. I can distinctly remember Tracy McGrady, Allen Iverson. Like, there's this whole group of names kind of in between the other stars. Like, you sit down and you play NBA Street and you're picking 3 guys, and the other guys already picked, somebody like Kobe and LeBron's already up the board.
Yeah.
Tracy McGrady's one of the nets that you're just like, he's got to be one of my 3.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're not necessarily going to take him over Kobe, and if you do, let's have a conversation. But he's just a great guy to sit there and let just play for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah.
It's a good one.
Tracy McGrady.
It's a good one.
So my number 1 truly comes down to being from Oklahoma City. He's a 9-time All-Star, again, consecutively, 08 to 16. He was an All-Star game MVP and a 4-time first-team player. And that's none other than Chris Paul.
Of course.
We talked about him being almost too good to even put on this list because, quite frankly, our generation, like, Chris Paul was the man. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yes.
He was the next guy after those big names that are just generational names people are going to talk about for decades.
Yeah.
Chris Paul was that next guy.
Yeah.
But being from Oklahoma City and him showing up on that Hornets team with like Desmond Mason and some other guys right after the hurricane and coming to Oklahoma City and us just embracing that team. Him being here, watching him play during some of his best years, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To then him turn around and after the Oklahoma City Thunder's been here, established, Kevin Durant leaves, Russell Westbrook leaves. We don't talk about Harden and the mistake that was made there. For Chris Paul to come in last year, and at first it was like, what the heck are you doing? That financials of that made no sense. But what he did is showed just like the winning spirit in Oklahoma City. That even though we didn't have a great team, we weren't supposed to do great things. It wasn't even that we just won enough. Like, they were an interesting team.
Oh, yeah.
And I've said we a few times because I live here, but it's not like I follow them closely or anything. I used to go to games a lot. But Chris Paul is my number 1 just because of what he did for Oklahoma City. It's, both his basketball talent and being a great player, but also just what he's done for this city that I've grown up in.
Yeah. And it's not undeserving either. Like the guy, CP3 was the dude. Yeah. Like you wanted Chris Paul on your team in his high, like you said, when he was with New Orleans at the time. And it was just like watching the guy kind of move through the defense and make plays. It was a sight to behold behind, at the time you had guys like Dirk that were dominating the league, and LeBron and Wade and Bosh, and that entire San Antonio team, but like Chris Paul was just there always giving a team trouble. So it's definitely a worthy selection.
And I think the only other guy that was on our list that we weren't going to mention just because it was just too easy is Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
A guy that I genuinely enjoyed watching and still enjoy watching, as much headache as he might cause my team play. Like, he's just a great player he's the guy that is both the like game manager that we saw Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and those guys be, but also very athletic, similar to what Michael Vick brought to the league.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson has blended those two. He had to mature into it. His first few years, I wasn't sold. I thought he was going to be a couple of years and done, almost like what we've seen with, Cam Newton or Colin Kaepernick and a few other guys who came in with that style of like almost run first quarterbacking.
Yeah.
And Russell's morphed into both a game manager and I'm going to burn you with my feet.
Right. Yeah. He was kind of really that first guy that brought that approach to the NFL. And it wasn't just him. Like there were several other guys, Michael Vick was before him, but like Vick's whole past kind of ruined that kind of way of going. If he would have, that's another conversation, but like Russell Wilson was kind of the first guy, like you said, to come in and like control the game while also being a really good passer. And like you said, just being able to have the ability to be super mobile and burn you on your feet and go for a solid 15-yard run when he needs to. Sometimes he does it a little too much.
But doesn't everyone? Even Brett Favre threw it a little too much.
Right. But as a guy that like consistently tries to get him as my QB for my fantasy team, I agree. He's like a great fantasy quarterback. So I'm with you there. I'm with you.
For sure. Well, for kind of the rest of our time here, really just an update of what's going on in the different leagues. So Jake, I'll turn to you for baseball.
Okay.
Any fun news, big news, anything like that going on in baseball right now?
Yeah. So if you're a baseball person at all, in the last week, you've heard the whole thing between going on the White Sox organization between the young rookie Yermin Mercedes and their manager Tony La Russa. Tony La Russa is a super old school manager, just like following the unwritten rules, like not showing emotion. Fun is not allowed. Actually having fun is not allowed. You just like can't celebrate none of that. It's like it's a gentleman's game and it's about respect. Yeah, sure, but go away. Like that's part of the reason baseball was dying. I say that in air quotes because baseball's hot in the streets. Like stuff like that is making ESPN headlines more often now the past few years than it has in the past 10 years or so. But basically Yermin Mercedes hit a home run in a game that was in the ninth inning, and the White Sox were up on the Twins by like 15 runs or something. It was a dumb game. It was over, and they had a position player on the mound. So it's basically a free shot to hit a home run if the ball ends up going right across the plate. The dude is a rookie and took his shot, hit a monster homer, gave his team another run, and like the person that was the most mad about it was their manager of the White Sox. That was just like, he said, you don't do that. He's going to suffer consequences within the organization. And basically all the rest of the players were like, no, like,
yeah,
like he's a kid. Like you don't, and what are you going to tell him? Oh, there's a meatball for you. Just hang in there for you. Don't swing at that. No, who cares, man? Like if you would have taken it, it was a strike anyway. Whatever. Yeah. The next pitch was probably going to be a ball. He was going to get walked. What was going to happen? Like nothing. It's just dumb. Like it's dumb.
Eventually, somebody would have had 2-1 meatball that they crushed on that
Exactly.
guy.
Yeah, like it wouldn't happen. And the whole thing is like, oh, it's a 3-0 count. You got to respect the 3-0 count. Who cares? It's an unwritten rule, and it's an unwritten rule that needs to die. Like it's not fun. And by that point, a game isn't fun anyway. So like injecting some fun into it by hitting a home run off a
As a rookie
position player, and it's a rookie. Like who cares? Like if he's gonna have to go through contracts in a few years, and when that happens, they're gonna look at his numbers. He can jack up those numbers,
remember that home run was against a position player. Like they're just gonna look at total home runs in the last 4 years, and that one's gonna help him.
Exactly. So like if that leads to him getting a good contract and down the road, all for you. And like I said, the players were on his side, and like the other team wasn't even really mad. The players weren't mad at all. So it's just a whole mess. Like if you want to go look it up, John Boy Media did a solid rundown on the whole thing. So go look up his video and see what they have to say. I pretty much agree with everything John Boy says. But
yeah. I look, as far as unwritten rules go, I made some people mad on TikTok the other day, and they accused me of never playing baseball, which I did for 7 years. I played baseball. I said that I think all unwritten rules should either be written in a part of the rule book, or done away with.
I agree.
Like they either are important and good enough that they are written down and adhered to as actual rules, which means in that case, your options are, if it goes to a 3-0 count, you either make the count full or give the guy first base. You don't even throw another pitch to him, which is ridiculous.
Right.
So either write them down and make a procedure to go with that rule, or get rid of it. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. And the thing is, we'll say this and then kind of move on because I don't want to spend too long on it. But the unwritten rules are like, they're not actually rules, right? It's just like professionalism.
Etiquette.
Yeah, basically. It's like, oh, be polite to this other team because they're losing so bad or they're doing really good. Like another example of that is
put in a run rule like softball.
Then do something about it. Like, God, MLB is not going to do anything about it because they don't care. But it's the teams. It's old school thinking that's like, oh, we respect the game. You can respect the game while also hitting a monster home run. Yeah. So go away. That's
I remember in a similar vein, again, Oklahoma boy, OU, OSU, obviously Oklahoma State just doesn't beat OU like ever.
Yeah.
And during the Adrian Peterson days, I think it was during his few years at the end of his career, beginning of like Sam Bradford.
Mm-hmm.
They were in Stillwater. OU was up by 2 or 3 scores, and there was like 4 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
And OU had the ball. So they're just running draw plays every play, but they're getting 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah.
But there's 4 minutes left. You're not going to take knees with 4 minutes left. And I remember there was one of those draws. Like, again, they were literally running a draw every play. Adrian Peterson breaks it for a 27-yard touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma State fans were losing their minds that he should have not scored, and that was just rude, and it was shoving it down their throats. And I'm like, there's 4 minutes. We can't take QB kneels for 4 minutes.
Right.
And just play better defense. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Be a better team. Be a better team.
The ball 7 times on this drive and ran a draw 7 times on this drive.
Right.
Figure it out.
And they're basically telling you what they're doing. Be a good defense and stop. Like, you know what they're doing. So, I don't know.
I'm not for the put our hands up.
Say, oh, we'll just play nice for the rest of this game because who cares about being competitive the entire game?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Real quick to close us up here, a few quick highlights from other sports are the play-in tournament was kind of a snooze fest. But NBA playoffs are officially underway with the first round going on. The Milwaukee Bucks are 15 wins away from being NBA champions. So
Let's go.
Keep that in mind.
We're a Bucks pod now.
The Pittsburgh Penguins are actually playing right now because the NHL playoffs are far underway. We've already got 2 teams who have advanced. The Colorado Avalanche swept the St. Louis Blues. And the Boston Bruins beat out the Washington Capitals, I believe, in 5 games.
Okay.
It was a 4-1 series. So, as a Penguins fan, there's lots of memes running around on my page of the Caps are eliminated, but it has the number 8 in it because Ovechek.
Of course.
We just got to throw some shade. But we are in a heated battle with the New York Islanders in our series, so we got to beat them to even have to worry about the Bruins.
There you go.
And I guess finally, the other sport that I know anything about, unless you got MLS or Premier League news, is the biggest news out of football right now is that Aaron Rodgers didn't show up to OTAs. At the end of the day, the news is there is no news because he's at a friend's wedding in Hawaii, and OTAs are optional. A lot of vets don't go to them.
Yep.
But you're going to see the articles out there. I think ESPN put something out that we're having Green Bay Packer deja vu because Brett Favre missed OTAs, Aaron Rodgers' second year, and that's when we got to see him run the offense in practice. So I guess for the next week or two, you're going to see Jordan Love is running the Green Bay offense, or Blake Bortles. I don't know. Take your pick. But not Aaron Rodgers, because you know what? I also would take Hawaii over OTAs.
Same. Oh, yeah. Dude, friend's wedding in Hawaii, easy. Not even a question.
Especially if you're a 16-year vet who started for 13 seasons.
Yeah. Give the guy.
I don't care if there's a gripe within the team or not. You're at that wedding.
Yeah, for real. Close friends. I'm there, dude. I'm there.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the no news in the NFL. So we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers' bit of the day.
Of course. So,
but Julio Jones also went out. That's the actual news in the NFL. Is he told the Falcons he's not coming. And I want to be traded. And the Falcons want 2 first-round picks for him, which he's too old for 2. You might get somebody's 1 first-round pick if they think that they're going to have like the 25th or worst pick in the first round.
Right. Yeah. So,
But you're not going to get 2.
Yeah. I would think maybe the Steelers would take that or something like that, but
maybe.
I don't know. A team like them or like the Ravens. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But I guess that'll wrap up this episode. Next week, we're on to number 4s. Any number 4s that immediately... Oh, wait, that's right. Clay, you are not going to be...
I won't be at our next episode, so you'll have a guest hosting with you to fill in, which is okay. The only number 4 I would have wanted to talk about is Brett Favre, and since we're not talking about obvious ones, we're not talking about Favre.
Right. It won't be a 25-minute episode on how Clay wishes he could have picked Brett Favre.
That's exactly what it would have been. We actually planned this.
Yeah. But yeah, look forward to that next week where we don't talk about Brett Favre. And if there's other big sports news, we'll be just talking about that. So until next time, see you later.
Pew, 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 pew.